good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former junior welterweight IBF world champion superstar boxer Regis the Prograis, he had his debut on the new world-renowned Triller app, in which he faced off against journeyman Adrien Broner. And Adrien Broner, he hit him with a right hook to the body, and Adrien Broner put on a performance and acted as if he was injured. It was a low blow, so on and so forth. But he got the victory, okay? With that said, Regis Prograis, the Rougarou, he's a former world champion, and he's 26 wins, 1 loss, 22 wins by way of knockout. He's 32 years of age. He stands at 5'8" with a 67-inch arm reach. He got the TKO victory over the Rougarou, Adrien Broner, okay? With that said, Regis Prograis, he has called out and been going back and forth via social media, 4-division world champion, superstar boxer, Adrien the Problem Broner, okay? Adrien Broner, since he made his debut, came back. Since he came back, it's been linked, him and Regis Prograis together. Adrien Broner, 34 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. He is 31 years of age. He stands at 5'6" with a 69-inch arm reach. Last time we saw him in the ring was February of 2021 when he defeated Giovanni Santiago via unanimous decision. Prior to that, we hadn't seen Adrien Broner in the ring since January of 2019 when he lost to 8-division world champion, legendary iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. With that said, Adrien Broner, he came back. He beat Giovanni Santiago, and it's been widely reported and that he was linked to Regis Prograis. Now, what's interesting is Adrien Broner is younger than Regis Prograis, but he seems to be the older guy in this entire scenario, okay? He just comes off, he just seems to be the older guy, okay? But with that said, Regis Prograis, he featured on Triller. He got the highest payday out of all of the athletes on Triller, all of the boxers on Triller. He got, $850,000 to showcase his talents on the Triller app, okay? And we know that Triller is willing to put out big money for their athletes, okay, to have these guys perform and showcase their talents on their app. And now we saw, interestingly enough, we saw Adrien Broner a few weeks ago. He put up a post and he added PBC Premier Boxing Champions and Al Heyman. And he also added, Showtime and Showtime President of Boxing and Sports, Steven Espinoza. And he let them know that, you guys have a few weeks to give me a scheduled date and a return, or I'm going to take my talents elsewhere because I'm not contractually obligated to fight on Showtime and the PBC. It's just my loyalty is what Adrien Broner put out there. And interestingly enough, Showtime this past week, they put out their 5-month schedule, and Adrien Broner is not on that schedule. They have one pay-per-view, Gervonta Tank Davis versus Mario Barrios, June 26th. It goes all the way up into September. 2 fights. They actually schedule one fighter 2 different times. They have the winner of Brandon Figueroa versus Luis Neri. That's scheduled to take place May 15th. But the winner of that fight is going to face off against Cool Boy Stephen Fulton in September 11th. So that's already scheduled. So one of those fighters have 2 dates already, and Adrien Broner doesn't have 1 date. So with that said, Triller is willing to put up big money. We saw this with top-ranked legendary promoter Bob Arum and their fighter, undefeated unified lightweight world champion superstar boxer Teofimo Lopez, as they went to a purse bid with his IBF mandatory George Kambosos Jr., undefeated Australian star boxer, okay? So with that said, they put up $6 million for a fight of that magnitude. They gave Regis Prograis nearly $1 million to fight Adrien Broner. 1-fight deals. Imagine how much money they're willing to put up for Adrien Broner and what he brings to the table. So Regis Prograis, he stated that he and his management team are going to talk to Adrien Broner and Triller and see if they could get a deal done to showcase their talents on Triller. With that said, Regis Prograis, he is too with the PBC Premier Boxing Champions and founder advisor Al Heyman, and he's a fight-by-fight deal. So Regis Prograis, he's stating that, he's willing to go to Triller for the Adrien Broner fight. He says that Triller is willing to put up big money for him to fight Adrien Broner. So he's going to go back to his management team. He says that he and Adrien Broner have a good relationship, although in public eye, they let it be known that they'll dominate one another, that they'll get the best of one another. And he said, but he still supports me. And I'm sure he'll support me in this situation because it benefits Adrien Broner as well. Because I'm sure that Triller would, if they put up $6 million for George Kambosos Jr., who's relatively unknown here in the United States. He's a star in Australia. He's not a star here in the States. Only hardcore boxing fans know who George Kambosos Jr. is. Not too many fans know him. And they put up $6 million for that fight. Imagine what they would do for Regis Prograis. And this is a card that they're reporting did 1.3, 1.4 million views, pay-per-view buys, for Regis Prograis being the biggest name on his card, not named the YouTuber Jake Paul, okay? So with that said, imagine if you have Adrien Broner on the card with Regis Prograis, who now the Triller fan base is accustomed to seeing, right? You put Regis Prograis and Adrien Broner on that card, and then you introduce Jake Paul on that card as well. Another YouTuber with millions of followers. Well then, and his followers translate, okay? Unlike Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia has a lot of millions and millions of social media followers, but it don't translate to his sport. Jake Paul's social media following, because he built that social media following outside the sport of boxing and he's carrying them into the sport of boxing, it translates. Ryan Garcia is a boxer who's built up his social media following, but his profession is boxing, and his fan base is very young, and it don't translate. So with that said, you add Jake Paul with another big name, and you add Adrien Broner against Regis Prograis, and the build-up for Adrien Broner and Regis Prograis on Triller, guess what? I'm sure Triller is willing to fund out millions upon millions of dollars to Adrien Broner to showcase his talents in a one-fight deal on Triller against Regis Prograis. It's a huge fight that you got to understand that the boxing fans are going to migrate over to Triller to watch Adrien Broner and Regis Prograis because it's a meaningful fight. It's a high-profile fight. It's an interesting fight for hardcore boxing fans that may not tune in to Triller to watch Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, okay? They may not tune in to watch that. But you best believe if you put Adrien Broner and Regis Prograis headlining a Triller card, now it's going to have to be the headline. Jake Paul is going to have to be the co-main event. You headline Adrien Broner versus Regis Prograis on Triller app with the build-up for that. It's going to get so many interesting followers, boxing fans that migrate over that normally wouldn't tune in to Triller for their event because let's face it, Triller is putting on events. It was a concert that featured boxing, okay? They had a lot of entertainers on the card, so you got to imagine how much money they're putting out. So you cut back on some of the entertainers that you have on the card. You still make it entertaining, but then you take some of that money and you invest it in Adrien Broner, Regis Prograis. You're going to get the migration from all of the hardcore and the casual boxing fans that are just interested in Regis Prograis, Adrien Broner, that's going to migrate over. And they're going to come over because they want to see this fight. They may only do it for one fight, but they're going to come over for this fight. And then you have Jake Paul fan base. They're going to come over. And imagine if you put Jake Paul against Kendall Gill. Okay, Kendall Gill is a former NBA superstar, who is, looking to seek out and rectify the situation with Nate Robinson and Jake Paul. So if you get the NBA fan base, that's going to be interested. Shaquille O'Neal, you have Shaquille O'Neal, you have, LeBron James, you have Charles Barkley. All of these guys are willing to back Kendall Gill versus Jake Paul. So it makes Jake Paul's fan base, Kendall Gill's bringing the NBA fan base. You have Adrien Broner, Regis Prograis, who they're the builder for that, and the interest in that is going to be huge. To come over, they will be willing to pay Adrien Broner large sums of money to showcase his talents on the Triller app. And this is a situation where Regis Prograis and Adrien Broner take the reins in their own hands. Instead of everybody complaining about Jake Paul and what he's bringing to the table and what he's not a professional boxer. Well, in his third fight, he's a novice. In his third fight, you look at the novice professional boxers in their third fights. They weren't making $700,000, and they definitely wasn't fighting the best of the best opposition. They're fighting the same level, if not lower level, of opposition that Jake Paul is fighting, and Jake Paul is taking the boxing game serious. So instead of complaining about Jake Paul and his approach, take heed and follow some of the trends. Adrien Broner, you know how much money he stands to make if he takes his talents to Triller? So let's see how this unfolds. But Regis Prograis said they're going to talk to the management team and Triller and Adrien Broner and try to get this fight on Triller. This is huge news. Hopefully, Adrien Broner, who came out yesterday and he stated that he's seen the money that Jake Paul and everybody else is making, and his next fight is going to be on Triller. Here's the perfect opportunity. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all we got for y'all. Peace.
Oh, it is your boy Jada Kiss. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.